Donald Trump has been panicking in the Oval Office this morning as China made a major power move with Iran. Before Donald Trump is set to visit Beijing, Xi Jinping just invited Iran's foreign minister Araghchi to Beijing to coordinate a joint China and Iran strategy in advance of Donald Trump showing up in China. Here's a photo right here of Iran's foreign minister Araghchi arriving in Beijing, where he was given a warm state welcome by the government in China. While that is taking place, a clear middle finger to Donald Trump, who's ranting and raving like a lunatic in the White House right now that he's having conversations with Iran, and Iran is begging Donald Trump for help. While you have all of this going on, here's what's actually taking place in the Strait of Hormuz. As Amina Baker, who covers oil, who covers things happening in the Middle East, here's what she writes. For anyone wondering, actual Hormuz crossings are still in the single digits. Yesterday it was 1, the day before it was 6, and the day before that 1. Talking about liquid carriers here. Now, the UAE air defense also has just been activated again, says they're engaging ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones launched from Iran, while Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and others are claiming this is not happening and we shouldn't believe our eyes and the photos of the port of Fujairah on fire or the ships that have been hit by Iran trying to challenge Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz. Well, here's Donald Trump in the Oval Office right now. He's surrounded by a bunch of children. He was supposed to be announcing an executive order or a memo to restore the Presidential Fitness Test Award for students. That's the purpose of this press conference. But he began shouting and ranting and raving like a lunatic in front of these children about the war in Iran. You can see on the children's faces how deeply uncomfortable they are about what's taking place, and their parents seem deeply uncomfortable as well. For example, while Donald Trump was in the Oval Office surrounded by these children, as he was clearly jealous of Xi Jinping inviting Foreign Minister Araghchi, as Donald Trump knows that he doesn't hold the cards in the Strait of Hormuz because Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz right now. Donald Trump's like, can Iran just surrender? They need to wave the white flag of surrender. Here, play this clip.
We do it the old-fashioned way. And they should wave. They're very proud. Maybe you won't see a white flag, but essentially that's already what they need. They should wave the white flag of surrender. In hockey, they say uncle, right? When are they gonna cry uncle?
Then as Donald Trump rails about nuclear warfare and nuclear annihilation, he looks over to a child and says, maybe you're too young for this. Here, play this clip.
We can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You might be too young for this. I don't know if I want. They probably know. They probably know better than most people. But you can't let a bunch of lunatics have a nuclear weapon, or the world would be in trouble. The world would be in trouble. So.
But he doesn't stop there. He continues to talk about the war in Iran in front of these children, and he's having these delusional conversations, these that are not taking place. He's imagining that he's speaking with Iranian leaders, and he goes, they tell me all the time, the Iranian leaders, they express it to me. They're telling me, Donald, we have no chance. We have no chance. Here, play this clip.
I call it a skirmish because Iran has no chance. They never did. They know it. They expressed it to me when I talked to them. Then they get on television. They say how well they're doing. And they have no Navy, totally wiped out. They have no Air Force, totally wiped out. They have no anti-aircraft capability, totally wiped out. No radar. They have no leaders. The leaders are wiped out. The whole thing. And then I read the papers and they say how well they're doing. They're not doing well. That's why you have no credibility. No credibility. The news, the fake news, has no credibility. But
then Donald Trump started to fall asleep during this meeting as RFK Jr., I guess, tried to talk about what the purpose of this Oval Office meeting was originally supposed to be about the fitness test and trying to stop an obesity epidemic in the United States. And RFK Jr.'s like, he's talking about it, and you'll see Donald Trump just like, boom, instantly falls asleep. Let's play it.
The presidency has presided over the worst public health crisis in history. We're now the sickest nation in the world. We've gone from 5% of our kids being obese to 20%.
Saw that there. And then RFK Jr. starts to talk about how 70% of adults are obese. And just note that he's saying this in front of Donald Trump sitting right there. Although I know Donald Trump thinks that he's in perfect shape, that he could be in the Olympics or play in FIFA or be an astronaut. Delusional. Here, play this clip.
70% of adults are obese or overweight, and 77% of our children cannot qualify for military service. And that should be an eye-opener for all of us.
Then Donald Trump looks at Noah Syndergaard and says, sometimes he's referred to as Thor. You look like a Thor. And you can see the guy in the Oval Office, too, is like uncomfortable. Like, I look like a Thor. What does that mean? Here, play this clip.
Sometimes referred to as Thor, and he looks like Thor to me. That's whereas it's very hard to make. You look great. That is a man, I wouldn't want to get into a fight with him, I can tell you. That would not be a good situation here.
So you had Donald Trump holding that presser in the Oval Office, whatever the hell that was. Then you had Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, former Fox Sunday host and failed nonprofit military leader who was pushed out because of his horrible personal behavior. Right, that's the guy leading the Defense Department, a guy who ran nonprofit military organizations into the ground because his personal behavior was so abhorrent. Here's what he said. He goes, look, here's the game plan, okay, everybody? As I've said before, the rest of the world needs the Strait more than we do, so we're just going to hand it over to the rest of the world. We ain't doing much. Here, play this clip.
To our partners, allies, and the rest of the world, this is a temporary mission for us. As I've said before, the world needs this waterway a lot more than we do. We're stabilizing the situation so commerce can flow again, but we expect the world to step up. At the appropriate time and soon, we will hand responsibility back to you.
So then a reporter says, well, it seems like Iran is now firing at U.S. ships, that Iran has struck 2 cargo ships or tankers. Iran has hit the port of Fujairah. And when these U.S. ships were trying to enter the Strait of Hormuz as part of this so-called escorting ship missions, Iran's been firing. And it seems like we're looking at open hostility. So the ceasefire's over, right, Hegseth? Hegseth's like, no. This is a separate project. On the one hand, we have the ceasefire. That's the war. The war is over. On the other hand, we have Project Operation Freedom, and that's a separate project. There are hostilities in this separate bucket, if you will, but that's a different war, different situation. These people are like, do y'all think we're separate bucket, separate project? What is this language that these people are using? Like, they think we're so dumb, right? They're the ones, you're not fooling anybody, Hegseth, and this whole Epstein class of Trump regime morons. Here, play this clip.
No, it can flow through.
Thank you, Secretary Hegseth. Last 24 hours or so, Iran's fired at us. We fired at Iran. Just going to ask you more directly, is the ceasefire over?
No, the ceasefire is not over. Ultimately, this is a separate and distinct project. And we expected there would be some churn at the beginning, which happened. And we said we would defend aggressively, and we absolutely have. Iran knows that.
More from Hegseth right here, who says, and everybody, guess what? The U.S. has delivered a great gift to the Strait of Hormuz. The great gift is we've established a powerful red, white, and blue dome over the Strait of Hormuz. Red, white, and blue. They're like reading quotes that are so corny that even in the worst, what we used to say, direct to DVD, I'm dating myself, the direct to DVD movies that never made it in the worst movies would think that these quotes are too corny for them. Here, let's play it.
As a direct gift from the United States to the world, we have established a powerful red, white, and blue dome over the strait. American destroyers are on station supported by hundreds of fighter jets, helicopters, drones, and surveillance aircraft, providing 24/7 overwatch for peaceful commercial vessels.
But Hegseth says Iran is embarrassed because hundreds of ships are leaving the Strait of Hormuz as we speak. The U.S. is leading an entire armada and the ships are exiting. Okay, that doesn't exist. You know, there are satellites, there are maps. Like what you're saying isn't happening. Here, play this clip.
2 U.S. commercial ships, along with American destroyers, have already safely transited the strait, showing the lane is clear. We know the Iranians are embarrassed by this fact. They said they control the strait. They do not. So American ships led the way, commercial and military, shouldering the initial risk from the front, as Americans always do. And right now, hundreds more ships from nations around the world are lining up to transit.
But folks, Hegseth does want you to know that there are sharks and dolphins with laser beams that the U.S. has trained. Let's play it.
And I can't confirm or deny whether we have kamikaze dolphins, but I can confirm they don't. Ultimately, any follow-on effort, if there are mines identified, would be something that some of our units could undertake or the world could undertake. But right now we know we have a lane of safe passage that commercial shipping can flow through.
I mean, can this regime get any more idiotic? Then Hegseth is asked, why did Donald Trump capitulate to Iran? Here, let's play this clip.
On the first day of this conflict, President Trump addressed the Iranian people directly and said, when we're finished, take over your government. It'll be yours to take. And then on the 7th day of the conflict, in a Truth Social post, the president said, quote, there will be no deal with Iran except, all caps, exclamation mark, unconditional surrender. What happens to that pledge to the Iranians? And when did the president decide to capitulate on his demand for unconditional surrender?
Well, James, I wouldn't, you started out nicely, but you ended exactly where we knew you would end. The president hasn't capitulated on anything. He holds the cards. We maintain the upper hand, and Project Freedom only strengthens that hand.
Okay. So then Donald Trump calls up his other regime media sources and he starts to attack the Pope. Let's play it.
Well, the Pope would rather talk about the fact that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and I don't think that's very good. I think he's endangering a lot of Catholics and a lot of people. But I guess if it's up to the Pope, he thinks it's just fine for Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
He's from Chicago. He's got to learn a few things. He's from Chicago.
He then says that he thought that he would tank the market 25%, but he's surprised that he didn't tank it as much as he thought he would tank it. Okay, thanks, Donald. Let's play it.
The reasons, when I first did this, I thought maybe the market would go down 20 or 25%, and I was okay with that because I know it would come back up. But I thought it would go down, and I thought oil could hit $200, $250. Well, oil's at $100, $102, and you did too. Most people did. You know what? It's the genius of the whole thing is people have found ways around the Hormuz Strait. They're heading up to Texas.
And finally, Donald Trump says we need to get guns to the Iranian people. That's our plan. We have to give the Iranians guns and then they'll rise up. That's all we forgot were the guns. When him and Netanyahu went on TV when the war started and when the invasion, unlawful catastrophic invasion by Trump and Netanyahu started, they forgot the guns. If we just gave the Iranian people the guns, we wouldn't be in this mess. Here, play this clip.
It's well, the people of Iran. So, look, if they had guns, which they don't have, if they had guns, guns were sent and other people took those guns. If they had guns, they would fight back. I'm convinced of that. But, you can't have an unarmed population against people with AK-47s and stand there, even if you have 250,000 people. So, you started off by asking me, would I like to see them? And I'm very...
There you have it, folks. I don't even know what we just watched. That's real. That's real life. I don't know how anybody could look at that and go, damn, that's normal. That's some crazy stuff. All right, everybody, hit subscribe. Help us get to 7 million subscribers. We're so close. We appreciate you. Hit subscribe.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.